All right, so it's Wednesday. Let's take a look at some DeFi charts, DeFi coins, DeFi Roundup, whatever you want to call it. The goal for today's video is 33,000 likes. Got 36 on the last one, almost there. So you can use various parameters for how the market is doing in a certain sector for anything, legacy, coins, metals, oil, indices, what have you. Bitcoin dominance is one of those barometers that you can use. The issue with this is I don't know personally what's included in this for TradingView, if the DeFi stuff's even in here. But just looking at it at face value, in general, alts are bullish if Bitcoin dominance is below the 200-day moving average, which it currently is. It's been below the 200-day moving average since Q3. Obviously, all of the DeFi stuff happened in Q3. I suspect many of the new tokens aren't included in this calculation, but I don't know. I should find out. Nevertheless, still below the 200. Not as bearish, certainly. It's not free fall descent like a lot of these charts I'm about to show you. I gotta say, I had my fun last week. I'm a little more grounded. I was giga, uber, mega bear last week. Some of the charts still deserve that sentiment, while those others look okay, like Link. But looking at the Bitcoin dominance, it doesn't look like free fall below 60, below 55 anytime soon. Alts kind of had to make hay while the sun was shining. And for the alt markets, that time may be over if BTC decides to make a run past 12 to 18, something like that. We'll see. Typically, alts do the best when BTC is consolidating or sideways. And that was certainly the case for September, pre-September, past few months. And it really shows in the dominance. If we flip gears to Link, another barometer you can use is the market leader. How's the market leader look? Does the market leader look bearish? Does it look like it's mean reverted? Does it look like it has a bullish reversal pattern on it, which it does? So USD charts are on the left, this video, BTC charts on the right, because why not? Let's look at both. For the most part, most of these are similar, but on the USD side, if we have a pitchfork on here with a trend channel, yellow line is where price wants to live. And you can see how price reacts above or below that line, how it gets bullish, it gets bearish. It usually doesn't snake in between too often. So as we speak, it's just back at that yellow line, kind of right where it's supposed to be, perfectly priced for the rate of change since 2019. It's also tapped the 200. It's also got this Adam and Eve double bottom. So, it really looks good from a technical perspective in a vacuum. It looks like it wants to retest all-time highs, definitely. I don't know how soon that's going to happen, but trend-wise, it still looks just as strong as it has since 2019. Same thing with the BTC pair. There was a risk for both of these that there was a massive head and shoulders here. That risk has decreased slightly. It still could happen. But until it breaks the 200, until it breaks the median line here, it just looks like it wants to live above the median line for the most part, above the 200. I mean, it hasn't really been below the 200 since prior to 2019. So Link still looks good, and that bodes well for DeFi stuff in general. Especially if someone's looking at market caps for this or anything, and they see the leader doing well. I think in general people get a lot more confident in the sector as a whole, even though that may be deceiving. Looking at AAVE Land, they just changed the ticker or something. I couldn't pull up the HIT BTC chart on TradingView. I'm not sure why, but there's still this falling wedge on both charts, arguably. It's a daily chart here, a 12-hour chart over here, but so a lot of charts have this bullish divergence. You're going to hear me say that over and over and over again, which is good. That says it wants to reverse, bullish reversal territory. You're getting a lower low in price, higher low in RSI. That's a bullish divergence. That suggests waning bearish momentum and an imminent reversal in the near term, coupled with this chart pattern, which looks better on the full chart that I can't actually pull up right now for reasons I'm not really sure. But falling wedge plus bullish divergence equals high probability of reversal. And I like it to 5K sats or whatever this is. I don't know. Whatever the VPVR levels look like decently. But it's looking less and less bearish. I think that's the best way to say it. Some of this stuff is looking less and less bearish. Some of the stuff like UMA looks like it tried to reverse here. Last week we were talking about this bullish divergence type thing over here. It did bounce, went sideways, established this massive grind zone at 340, and now it's below that. So it's hard to get bullish on this. Same thing with the BTC chart, below 30K sats, and RSI near all-time lows, which is more bullish than anything really. If, again, bearish momentum is waning, it's going to continue to wane. What you really want to see is the bullish divergence here. To be certain, at least for me when I'm trading, I need that to say, all right, if I want to buy this knife, take a stab here myself, it's got to have a bullish divergence. It's got to have some bullish reversal pattern. I don't really see any patterns here as of yet. So it's got some time. This is on the hourly chart, so a lot's going to happen between now and next week. But I would definitely watch for a bullish divergence, which looks like it's going to try to put in here. You're looking for a second lower low here with a higher low in RSI, which should be pretty easy to do considering RSI has already hit an all-time low. I didn't add volume on here, but I should have. Another thing you want to watch for, which I'll mention on a few of these charts, is the explosion in volume. The motion you see on the chart of people just capitulating, that's when you know. Bears are exhausted because they're all dead. They've all been culled, or the bulls have been culled, and they've just sold off in a tantrum, essentially. Just fear of price going lower. That's when you want to step in and say, okay, let's evaluate the situation. Is there a bullish divergence here? Is this the highest volume day ever? That sort of thing you want to take heed of if you're trying to buy a low. Looking at the SNX chart, again, USD here, BTC here. Again, this falling wedge type thing just keeps popping up, and it's got a weak bullish divergence. One thing that's so great about crypto is there's so many charts, so many pairs. If you're a fan of the tech, if you're a fan of the game, a student of the game, you can look at all these charts and evaluate them using the same barometers, the same metrics, whatever you want to call it. So you're getting lower lows in price. Are you getting higher lows in RSI? Slightly. So this is you'd consider this a mild bullish divergence, but it's definitely a bullish divergence. It's weaker than the obvious one where you get a lower low in price and a higher low in RSI. But it's not there, right? So you can say, all right, bearish momentum is waning. My positions, sizes, etc., should reflect the certainty of the divergence here. So just one example to trade this would be to start dipping your toe in rather than, going full ape, as the kids say, or whatever nonsense memes people are using these days. Based on mean reversion principles, it's back to the 200-ish. But if it gets another low with a higher RSI, that's an even more confident signal that bearish momentum has stopped. So SNX looks decent, honestly. Not too bad. 2 charts ago, I said UMA. That was actually UNI. This is UMA. Too many U's. Okay. Pick a different letter, people. So here, not really seeing a pattern per se. I mean, you could argue inverted Adam Eve. We get this VU. That's a bearish reversal sign. You could argue a falling wedge situation. No bullish divergence here. Definitely not. And you're getting a 5200 cross to the downside on the hourly chart here. So this doesn't look like anything I'd personally want to touch. And again, if you've got all these charts next to each other, you can line them up and say, this is the most bearish. This isn't the most neutral. This is something that's worth buying. This is something that I don't want to touch. So you can line them up. This is one that I would avoid personally. That's just me. No bullish divergence, no bullish wisps of anything. Here's Wi-Fi. I was talking about the Head and Shoulders, I think last week. It looks pretty droopy, pretty sad. It's trying to put in this bullish divergence. It looks like it has on the BTC pair. Another way to read this VPVR is if it's consolidated, you're going to get a big chunk of volume there. And if it's below that chunk of volume, that's bearish. If it's above, it's bullish. If these lows don't hold, watch out, because this sucker is going to go, especially based on the price, where it was, where it's been, the fact that it's 5 digits, all that psychological stuff is going to play a big role here, I think. BTC pair looks more waning in the bearish realm, but these together look dangerous to me, even with this bullish momentum, bullish divergence rather. I would much rather see, again, I should have put on volume here, I don't know why I didn't, but much rather see a big volume spike, big wicks, big capitulation, really obvious stuff of people saying, all right, throwing their hands up and just saying, I'm selling, I don't care how much I'm down, that sort of thing. That's what you want to see. I don't think we're there yet for Wi-Fi personally. Comp BTC casually pushing all-time lows on the 4-hour Binance chart anyway. It has a decent case for a bullish divergence that's growing. There isn't one that's been confirmed yet. This is still pushing lower. This could push lower on RSI as well, but it's something to watch, certainly. So this is one of those where it's like, okay, you know, it's down, what, 80%? I don't know. I don't know the percentage here, but it looks like it's down a lot on the chart in a rapid amount of time. So depending on the fundamentals or however you want to look at that, decent stab there, perhaps. CompUSD not quite there yet as far as the lower lows, as far as the bullish divergence. And any mean reversion is going to want to pull back to that 136 VPVR level, the 200 here. Kind of the same for the BTC pair, back to the 200, back to this previous consolidation lows, that sort of thing. Just obvious horizontal levels. That's where it's going to want to go back to if this decides to bounce and buyers step in. Looking at Ren, this is another one that I was talking about. Potential for head and shoulders last week. That got denied heavily. I mean, look at this volume on Ren. That is impressive. The fact that it's still pushing all-time highs in volume on the USDT side. Doesn't quite have a bear div yet. We didn't get a higher high here. Looks like it wants to retest this high though, 100% on the USD pair. One thing I talk about kind of infrequently is when you get this expectation of a bearish cross on the EMAs and it doesn't happen, it's usually a turbo hyper bull situation. The same is true for the opposite. If you're expecting the bullish divergence and you don't, or the bullish golden cross and you don't get it, it's usually extremely bearish. Similar to, where was it? Similar to this for Uni. There's an expectation here that this should be bullish. It should cross bullish. If it doesn't, it's like, watch out. There wasn't enough momentum to actually get the cross there. So Ren looks really good. It's probably the best of anything. I don't know how decent of a buy it is up here. This Ren BTC chart is just insane. I mean, it's 2x from lows almost, or at least it's at least 2x from lows. It's like down 90% or whatever it is from highs and then bounce. Like, it's just all over the place. So it's definitely a super volatile pair to watch if you're actively trading Ren BTC. But it still looks good. It looks bullish. I don't know how much more it has in the tank, but the USD side looks good as well. Serum's kind of interesting. It definitely is pushing lows. Now it's flagging. I don't know if you want to argue like diamond bottom, if you want to argue equilateral triangle, which is usually continuation. In this case, it'd be bearish continuation. You could argue it's ready for a mean reversion attempt back to 175 on USD pair, back to 14.6K sats on BTC pair. This is one of those like bearish neutral charts for me. I don't really see any strong indications of anything one way or the other. It might be a decent DCA play as far as dollar cost averaging, buying little by little every day, just in case this is the low. I don't know. Not something I would play, but there's a decent case to be made there. Just because it's so oversold from the highs, but you also have to look at emissions or total circulating supply, that sort of thing, when you're factoring in lows. Because like in the technical vacuum, this looks like it could bounce, it could mean revert. But if they're continuing to release supply over time, this could just keep dumping, right? Like, because demand clearly isn't there yet. Band, probably the best example of a bullish divergence that's played out. And again, when you get these confluent divergences with falling wedges or bouncing on the 200, that's the type of stab that's worth taking in my mind. So you're getting this bullish divergence a little late at this point in time. Daily charts for both of these, but very clearly bullish divergence. This could morph into some sort of inverted head and shoulders. I don't really see Adam and Eve so much here. Maybe just a generic W double bottom. I don't know. This looks more inverted head and shoulders-y potential to me, but the mean reversion occurred. If it's going to bounce, it's got to do it soon. Bullish divergence was there. I'd definitely like to see volumes pick up for both pairs though, but probably about as neutral as you can get on that chart. Balancer looks pretty ugly to me as far as bull bear. It looks like it's trying to like diamond bottom or something here, but there's just no gas in the tank. Not quite a bullish divergence yet. We're not getting lower lows or anything like that. Volume just sort of flat as well. So when you get this no volume, slow drip, Zcash like chart, it's never a good sign. It's just never a good sign. So I want to see, again, I say the same thing over and over again. I want to see massive volume spike. I want to see tears on the chart. I want to see capitulation. I want to see FOMO sells. That's what you want to see. That's when you can say, all right, there's blood in the streets, I'm ready to buy. But right now, I don't think it's quite there. I think this could go lower for both pairs, definitely. And then lastly, looking at Sushi, another one of these flat, sideways, lukewarm, low volume. I guess some bullish divergence here because you're getting lower lows and higher RSI, but I don't know. I wouldn't touch this just because it just had no bullish momentum essentially since inception. It just, again, reminds me of Zcash. These slow bleeds are never bullish. They never end well. You want to see the washout. You want to see tears on the chart. You want to see FOMO selling. You want to see people on Twitter saying everything's a scam. Until then, this looks like it's going to keep selling off to me. I don't know. Just slow bleeds are the most bearish thing you can see. That's all I have for this week. Let me know what you think about the evaluations. Let me know if I missed anything, if I should include anything next week. Happy trading.